So this is the type of thing that is actually at stake with the use of technology. I alluded to this in my Silicon Valley / apartheid South Africa video, but I think a lot of people have been led to believe that eugenics and genocide and all of these things necessarily happen at the end of a sword or some type of weapon, but these things can very much take place in the forms of these kind of soft ways to slowly disenfranchise people out of the system. And the danger of doing it this way with technology or statistics, etc., is that it gives the veneer of it being fair and meritocratic and unbiased, because the stakes aren't what they were, let's say in the 20th century with World War II or other forms of mass annihilation of people. It's going to happen in the form of systematically removing you out of society. I remember when the election results first came in, and especially when the inauguration happened, I was telling my mother and I was telling people around me that all of these people that kind of said, oh, I'm going to do something tomorrow. I'm going to go and get my degree tomorrow. I'm going to go figure out my life tomorrow. Tomorrow has effectively come now, because all of these systems that kind of act as guardrails in the American society are potentially going to be stripped away from us. Specifically to Chuma Hand's point, these things, because like I said, it's going to be done by the basis of algorithm and data and merit, and it's unbiased because it's just numbers. Because of this, it actually is going to drive larger wedges between the haves and have-nots and any type of disparity you see between groups. And between groups can be racial, it can be ethnic, it can be gender-based, it could be sexual orientation-based. And the part that is even more worrying, or something that I think is just as worrying, is a lot of the people that are implementing this thing, they are not classically liberal or conservative as we know in the American sense of the word. They're very much libertarians, and the libertarian doctrine, a lot of it is based on completely no guardrails, and it's basically a wild, wild west, which is interesting to me, but it's interesting but not surprising to me, because like I said, I live in proximity to Silicon Valley, and a lot of the people there they're not liberal. Like, people think San Francisco is a liberal place, and yeah, in many aspects it is, but it's very much libertarian. The people that work at these companies and the people that create these technologies very much have a let the chips fall where they may type of mentality towards things. That's why, like, even the whole DEI bit that they were putting on, it came off very fake, because at the end of the day, they just care about their numbers and what they can get out of something. So, like the commenter was stating, because all of these things are not going to be implemented in such a way that is as severe as saying, oh, we're going to delete or eliminate this particular X group of people because we don't like what they represent and they are not helping us move our vision of society forward. It's very much going to be, you're going to be systematically pushed out to the point where you're effectively a victim of eugenics, right? And you already see this to an extent with housing, whereas there's a lot of people now that can't afford housing, and the housing that is available, a lot of corporations are buying it. So you're going to be a renter for life. Essentially, one of the building blocks of wealth in America in the 20th and 21st centuries has been home ownership and securing that price. A lot of people have been effectively locked out of that, and as a result, may stay within an underclass position. And another reason why this is so dangerous and they can get away with it is because the way it's set up now, it's not going to be race-based. So I know, especially in the United States, a lot of the inequity that we have seen has fallen along racial lines, which for reasons that are obvious to anyone that's from America watching this video. But because this is going to be data driven, you're still going to see the standard racial groups at the bottom. So usually that is Black people at the bottom. But then because it's based on data, a lot of working class and poor whites will also fall to the bottom. Same for Hispanic and the Asians that comprise a lower class in their own racial or ethnic group, right? So a lot of these people are going to fall to the bottom faster than they would ordinarily. And because it's going to be more so an underclass that is comprised of people of all different ethnic groups, they can then point to that and say, well, no, it's not racist and it's not unfair because look, even poor white people are being held down or have fallen to the bottom essentially. And it's all because, well, the data shakes out that way. They don't deserve it. And this is just how it is. It's just the numbers. And the rest of us will kind of have to eat that because the whole talking point as far as equity is concerned in America has always fallen along racial lines. So when they're unfair and it's all races that are experiencing it, they're going to say, well, we're basically now officially post-racial because now even white people are being treated like ends in this country.